The results are in. We're finding out if Mason City voted yes or no when it comes to supporting the River City Renaissance Project coming up.
This is KIMT News 3 at 10.
Thanks for joining us this election night. I'm Katie Huinker. KIMT is your hub for election results. We have a team working right now to bring you those on KIMT.com, and we are running down tonight's biggest races right now. We begin in Mason City, where there was a large turnout. Residents voted on two issues that will determine the city's future. Investigators are still working to learn more about the man they believe fatally shot 26 people at a church in Texas just 3 days ago. New at 10 tonight, we're learning that Apple is now offering technical advice to the FBI after they learned agents were trying to access the alleged shooter's encrypted cell phone. In a statement tonight, the company says they will expedite any responses to legal processes from the Bureau. So far, Apple says the FBI had not requested their assistance. And encryption on personal devices can be a roadblock for authorities in our area as well. So what exactly is encryption and how does it impact local investigations? KIMT News 3's Annalisa Pardo explains. While driving around Clear Lake, you may have noticed campaign signs with two very similar names on them. Ben and Bennett Smith are both running for the Ward 2 City Council seat in Clear Lake. Because of the name similarities, Bennett Smith is challenging his opponent, Ben, and saying he should be using his legal name of Jack. Well, tonight we're hearing from both of these men. KIMT News 3's Brian Tabak is live in Mason City with the story. Brian, something you rarely see, that's for sure. First, it's a story gaining national attention. On November 28th at Forest City High School, a chain of events began that would lead to the firing of two Forest City radio station employees.
A lot of apparently Espanol people in Eagle Grove. As Trump would say, go back where they came from.
Well, some would say that, yeah. Some days I feel like that too.
Yeah.
Orrin Harris admits to KIMT that his comments were derogatory and should have never been said. Misty Padilla agrees. Her son was one of the players from Eagle Grove who Harris and Holly Jane Cussero-Smith were referring to. While she's greatly upset in regards to what was said, she sees it as a teaching point for her children.
When you were younger, don't ever listen to anybody with their side remarks that they make about you. I said, you know who you are and you know where you've come from.
Padilla's son Nicholas took to social media tonight about the incident. His tweet reads, "Thank you everyone for your sympathy. I am proud to be Hispanic and of my background culture. I don't want Mr. Harris to be known for his devastating remarks. He made a terrible decision. I accept his apology and want him to move on with his life as I will with mine." And at this time, there have been 3 statements issued from the institutions involved. In part, superintendents from both Eagle Grove and Forest City schools commented on their expectations for their students, staff, and the surrounding community. Now, in a separate statement, KIOW emphasized they take pride in spotlighting citizens, schools, and communities. You can find all of these statements in full at KIMT.com, attached with this story under local news. New tonight at 10, Cody Motz is now being charged with murder in connection to today's double homicide investigation. We've been bringing you the latest information throughout the day, and now KIMT News 3's Emily Boster is live for us. Emily, what can you tell us? Turning back to your 2017 election results tonight, the future leadership of Mason City was determined. With 59% of the vote, Bill Schickel will be the new mayor of Mason City. You can see he won by a significant margin, with Colleen Niedermeyer getting 33% and Alex Klein receiving about 7% of that vote. And it looks like there will be 2 runoff votes in Mason City for city council seats. These are the unofficial results from Ward 2. Now, to win, a candidate must receive 50% of the vote, and you can see that did not happen here. The top 2 vote getters in this case being Will Simmons and Troy Lievenhagen. They will go head-to-head now in a runoff election. A pursuit near downtown Mason City came to a deadly end, with 2 people losing their lives. The crash happened just before 1 this afternoon near the intersection of 3rd Street Northwest and North Jefferson Avenue. That's where we find KIMT News 3's Brian Tabak. He's live now with more information. Brian? Issues surrounding taxes at the Southbridge Mall continue. As we reported last week, the Mason City Mall owner owes more than $200,000 in back taxes on that property. While the owner tells us he's aware of the issue and will make sure taxes get paid as soon as possible, mall employees are pointing out that's not the only problem. KIMT News 3's Casey Walsh is speaking with former employees. He's live in Mason City now. Casey, what other problems are we talking about? It's a case KIMT News 3 has been following since it all began. We were there in June when Nathaniel Fleming was shot and killed by Antoine Williams in Charles City. In October, Williams went to trial and was found guilty of second-degree murder. Now today, he's being sentenced to 50 years in prison. KIMT News 3's Emily Boster has been following this case and takes us to the courtroom today.
All right, thanks, Tyler. And speaking of prompts, some high school students are realizing they have younger peers watching and caring about their actions. This is really neat. KIMT News 3's Hannah Funk joins us from our Albert Lee newsroom with the details now. Hannah?
A pedestrian is seriously hurt after a two-vehicle accident in downtown Rochester this morning. It happened around 9 at the intersection of 2nd Street Southwest and South Broadway. Two vehicles collided, which sent one spinning away and hitting a man in the crosswalk. Police say he was taken to St. Mary's, where he is listed in stable condition. 2nd Street Southwest was blocked for 2 hours afterward. The Mason City Chamber of Commerce held their annual meeting today. The theme rang out loud and clear, voting yes to the Mason City River City Renaissance project. You may have noticed some of your Facebook friends have changed their profile pictures to reflect their stance on the project. We turn to KIMT News 3's Brian Tabak on how all of this got started. Brian. On Monday, the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office learned about a home invasion in the small town of Rake, where a family was held at gunpoint. Now they're looking to the community for answers. As KIMT News 3's Brian Tabak reports, people are pretty shaken up. He has the story.
In Rake, Brian Tabak, KIMT News 3.
And anyone with information is asked to contact the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office. Think we'd be used to weather like this in the Midwest, but when it hits, it can still be a shock. And working in it all day can be unbearable. KIMT News 3's Emily Boster is getting an idea of how people are handling today's cold temps.
In Mason City, Emily Boster, KIMT News 3.
And Menon says she was happy to see kids coming in all bundled up today, some even wearing their snowsuits. People living in one local city are frustrated after being without internet service for the last 3 days. Not only is it hindering holiday shopping for folks, it's impacting business. KIMT News 3's Brian Tabak is learning how they're dealing with this issue.